What if the thing you've been searching for isn't in the next hour, the next day, or the next chapter of your life? What if clarity isn't waiting for you around the corner of some future success, but quietly whispering to you in this moment? Now, a whisper you've been too busy, too afraid, or too distracted to hear. We live like we're always running late to some imaginary destination. We believe that peace will arrive when we finally get enough time, enough money, enough love, enough answers. But have you noticed? Enough never comes. Because time, no matter how much we chase it, cannot rescue us from ourselves. The truth is more uncomfortable. You don't need more time. You need to stop running from this moment. You see, the present is not a waiting room. It's not some uncomfortable pause between where you were and where you hope to be. It is the only place anything real has ever happened. The only place healing begins. The only place truth lives. But we avoid it constantly, with overthinking, with endless scrolling, with to-do lists that never end and ambitions that never rest. We run because the silence of the present feels unbearable. But that silence only feels heavy because it echoes with everything we've refused to feel. Grief we buried, shame we swallowed, fears we pretended didn't exist. In stillness, they return. So we tell ourselves, I just need more time to figure it out, more time to feel ready, more time to heal. But healing doesn't wait for permission, it waits for presence. This moment, right now, is your invitation. Close your eyes for a second. Take a breath. Feel the inhale as it enters you, noticing, not judging. Now, feel the exhale leave your body. And ask yourself, where am I right now? Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You may find you've been scattered across 1,000 thoughts, pulled between regret and anticipation, living everywhere except here. But here is where your power lives. The mind loves to storm. It flashes worries like lightning. It echoes fears like thunder. It floods with old memories and imagined futures until you can't tell what's real. But you are not the storm. You are the sky. The sky does not resist the storm. It holds it. And when the storm passes, because it always does, the sky remains vast and untouched. You are that vastness, and whatever is moving through you, anxiety, anger, sorrow, it is not who you are. It is weather. It will pass. The part of you that watches, that breathes, that notices the chaos without becoming it, that is your true self. And it has always been still. But stillness can feel foreign when we've built our identities on noise. We cling to productivity like a life raft, as if being busy proves we're worthy. We fill our calendars, our minds, our homes, and call it success. But what if the real achievement is learning how to sit with yourself and not run? We chase external validation, hoping it will calm the storm inside. But it never does, because the ache isn't out there. It's in the space we refuse to enter, the space of now. There is a sacred simplicity in presence, but the ego resists it because presence asks for surrender, and the ego survives by control. Your ego wants to fix, to understand, to dominate every problem, even your own pain. But your soul just wants to be held. It doesn't need fixing. It needs you to stop abandoning it every time life gets quiet. Can you feel the difference? The ego says, this moment is not enough. The soul says, this moment is all there is. Right now, you may be carrying grief that's grown heavy from neglect. You may be shouldering burdens that were never yours to begin with. You may be living under stories about who you're supposed to be instead of discovering who you truly are. But no future will bring you home to yourself. Only this moment can. So ask yourself gently, what am I avoiding? What feeling have I labeled as too much? What truth have I been too afraid to name? Stay with that. Not to fix it, not to analyze it, just to be with it, like you would with a dear friend in pain, without judgment, without needing it to be different. This is presence, It is not glamorous. It will not trend. It will not give you instant answers, but it will give you something deeper. It will give you back to yourself, because in presence the masks fall, the roles fade, and all that remains is what's real, raw, unfinished, beautiful. You are not broken, you are becoming. And becoming doesn't happen in the future. It happens now, in this breath, in this stillness, in this sacred pause between distraction and awareness. So pause, breathe, feel the ground beneath you, feel the life within you. You don't need more time, you need to stop running from this moment. This is where healing begins. This is where truth lives. This is where you remember who you are. Why is it so hard to stay here? Not physically, but emotionally. Why do we slip away from the present so quickly, as if it's a room we're not supposed to enter? Because to be fully here means to feel everything. The ache of what we've lost, the guilt of what we've avoided, the dreams we buried beneath duty and fear. And so we escape. We escape into the past, hoping to rewrite it, or into the future, hoping it will redeem us. But all the while, the present waits, patiently, like a parent sitting on the porch, waiting for their child to finally come home. And when we do return, when we stop, when we breathe, when we feel instead of flee, the present doesn't punish us for leaving. It simply opens its arms. That's the beauty of now. It doesn't hold grudges. It doesn't shame you for drifting. It just welcomes you again and again. But to accept that welcome, you must be willing to stop fighting reality, to stop resisting what is, to stop demanding that life feel different before you let yourself feel peace. Can you let go of your war with the moment? It's not easy. The mind will scream, the emotions will rise, the ego will panic, because being here means giving up control, or at least the illusion of it. It means you must feel the ache you've been numbing, the confusion you've been organizing into plans, the loneliness you've been covering with noise. But beneath all that is you. Not the version of you you show the world, not the persona you perform in conversations, but the soft, quiet being beneath the armor, the one who doesn't need to prove anything, because they were never incomplete. You've just forgotten. And forgetting is part of being human. So is remembering. Right now, I invite you to remember, not with your mind, but with your body. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the heartbeat. You didn't earn that beat. You didn't create it. It is simply there, reminding you that you belong here. Now breathe. Notice the breath not as a task, but as a gift. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to improve it. You just need to receive it. This is presence, not a technique, not a performance, but a return. And every return brings you deeper, deeper into yourself, deeper into life, deeper into the truth that has always waited beneath the noise. You are already whole, not when you achieve more, not when you heal completely, not when you finally get it right. Now, even in your doubt, even in your fear, even in your not knowing, especially in your not knowing, because presence doesn't require certainty, it only requires honesty. And honestly, you might feel lost. You might be tired of pretending, tired of performing strength while breaking inside, tired of waiting for some future permission to be soft, to be still, to just be. So stop waiting. Give yourself what you've been hoping someone else would give you. A pause, a breath, a chance to rest without earning it. This is not laziness. This is not weakness. This is sacred. In this stillness, you might hear the voice you've been drowning out, the one that whispers through your bones, the one that says, you were never too much. You were just never fully seen. So now, see yourself, not as an object to improve, not as a project to perfect, but as a living, breathing mystery, as a flame, not a machine, as a soul, not a task. You don't need to chase enlightenment. You don't need to manifest a different reality. You don't need to hack your way into peace. You just need to be here, now with your doubt, with your breath, with your messy, magnificent self. Because in presence, nothing is off limits. The joy, the sorrow, the longing, the numbness, all of it belongs. All of it can be held. You don't need to transcend your humanity. You just need to meet it with compassion, with gentleness, with the kind of love that doesn't need you to change in order to stay. Take another breath. Let it soften you. Let it remind you there's nowhere else you need to be. There's nothing else you need to become. Not right now. There is only this moment, and it is enough. And you, just as you are enough. That doesn't mean you won't grow. It doesn't mean you won't evolve. But growth doesn't require self-rejection. It doesn't need shame as fuel. It begins not with striving, but with seeing. Seeing yourself clearly, tenderly, completely. Because when you stop running from the moment, you stop running from yourself. And in that meeting, quiet, simple, profound, you begin to remember something ancient, something true. That healing is not becoming someone new. It's remembering who you were before you forgot, before the world told you to earn love, before you learned to hide your truth to be safe, before you traded stillness for survival. Now, you return, not to the past, but to presence, to the timeless space within you that has never been damaged, never been lost, never stopped whispering, "I'm still here. I've always been here, and I've been waiting for you to come home. Come home." Not to a place, but to a presence, to the quiet pulse of your own existence, to the warmth of being alive beneath all the noise, to the you that doesn't need to be explained, only embraced. There is a moment that lives behind every moment, a stillness inside every movement, a silence beneath every thought. That is where you belong. But you've been taught to chase instead of listen, to calculate instead of feel, to solve yourself like a puzzle instead of holding yourself like a miracle. And yet, beneath all the doing, you are tired, not just physically, but soul tired. Tired of being pulled by the gravity of next, tired of never feeling like now is enough, tired of mistaking urgency for meaning. So I'll ask again, gently, can you stop running? Not because you've finished all your tasks, not because the world suddenly became perfect, but because your soul is calling you back. And you're finally ready to listen. This isn't about quitting life. It's about entering it more deeply, more truly, without needing to conquer it, because there's nothing to conquer. You are not at war with time. Time is not your enemy. It is your mirror. It reflects how often you postpone your own presence. And every time you say, "I'll slow down when," "I'll rest when," "I'll live when," you push yourself further into exile from the only life you've ever had. This one, this breath, this feeling, this sacred flicker of awareness right now. So stop, just stop. Not forever, just for this one breath. Inhale, exhale. Be here. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply becoming aware of what's always been true. That the depth you crave is not in the future. It's in your willingness to feel this moment fully, even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain, even if it hurts, especially then. Because that pain you've been avoiding, it's not a punishment, it's a messenger. It's asking for your attention, not so it can destroy you, but so it can finally be seen. You don't need to fix your pain. You just need to stop exiling it. You don't need to escape your sadness. You need to sit with it like a child left out in the cold. Wrap it in warmth. Let it cry. Let it speak. You don't need to numb your grief. You need to listen to its wisdom. Because every unhealed part of you is not a flaw. It's a fragment of your humanity calling to be integrated. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. There's a world of difference. Perfection is a mask. Presence is a mirror. Perfection says, don't let them see the cracks. Presence says, your cracks are where the light gets in. Perfection whispers, hide. Presence whispers, come home. And when you do, when you truly come home, you realize that peace isn't about eliminating the storm. It's about no longer identifying with the clouds. You are the sky, and the sky has room for all of it. The light, the darkness, the thunder, the stillness. It doesn't reject any part of itself, neither should you. That's the beginning of wholeness, radical inclusion of your entire self, even the parts you've disowned, even the feelings you've labeled wrong, even the stories you've buried so deep you forgot they were still shaping you. Now is the time to remember, not by digging, not by forcing, but by being still enough to hear what's already speaking through you. That quiet voice beneath the noise, the one that says, you are not what happened to you. You are not the worst thing you've done. You are not your fear. You are the one who witnesses. You are the awareness behind the pain, the presence behind the persona, the being behind the doing. And that presence has never been in a hurry. It's been waiting, not with impatience, but with love. It knows the truth. You don't need more time. You need to remember how to be. Not do, not strive, not perform, just be. It's terrifying, I know. To strip away the masks, to let go of control, to stop believing that your worth is measured by your productivity. But in that terror, in that trembling surrender, is the seed of your freedom. Because what you're really afraid of isn't presence. It's what presence will reveal. It will reveal how much you've been carrying, how long you've been lonely, how deeply you've wanted to be seen. But it will also reveal this. You are already enough, not in some abstract spiritual way, but in the most intimate, grounded sense. You sitting here, listening, breathing, questioning, longing. This you is worthy, not because of what you'll do, not because of who you'll become, but because of who you already are beneath it all. So I ask you now, again, and maybe for the first time truly, can you stay? Not forever, not even for an hour, just for one breath, and then the next, and the next. Because peace is not a destination, it's a practice, a presence, a return. Again and again you will forget, and again you are invited to remember. This moment, this breath, this stillness, this truth. You don't need more time. You need to stop running from this moment, because this moment, exactly as it is already holding the life you keep waiting for. All you have to do is be here. There is no revelation waiting in the next chapter that isn't already whispered on the pages of this one. But how often do we rush to turn the page, hoping the future will offer what the present refuses to give? That's the illusion. That meaning is ahead of you. That love is somewhere else. That freedom lives in another version of you. But nothing is missing from this moment except your full attention. We've been trained to scan life like a checklist, to treat the present as a stepping stone to some imagined, real experience. But life doesn't begin later. It begins now, and now, and now again. This moment is not a rehearsal. It is the performance, messy, raw, unscripted, and alive. The trouble is, we keep waiting to feel ready, to feel whole, to feel perfect enough to finally live without resistance. But readiness isn't a prerequisite for presence. Presence is what brings about readiness. You don't wait to be worthy. You become worthy by being with yourself in the places you've always abandoned. So breathe again. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the rhythm of your heart, the subtle tension in your jaw, your shoulders, the weight of the day still lingering in your chest. This is you, not the idealized version, not the curated image. Just you, human, alive, awake. And that is holy. Can you let this version of you be enough? Not because she's finished healing, not because he's transcended every flaw, but because this is the only place love can reach you. Here, not in your imagination of who you could be, but in the truth of who you are now. The world has conditioned you to perform yourself, to brand your worth with titles, roles, and filters, to become palatable before being present. But the soul is not interested in performance. It wants real. It wants raw. It wants you, not the mask. The soul doesn't need you to impress anyone. It needs you to return to the ground of being, to the stillness beneath striving, to the quiet truth that says, you are not a project. You are a presence. And when you finally listen, when you stop resisting what is, even for a moment, something profound begins to shift. The grip loosens. The storm softens. The war within quiets. And there, beneath all the striving, you find something ancient and kind. Peace. Not the peace of everything being perfect, but the peace of nothing needing to be. The peace of allowing what is. Grief, joy, fear, longing, without needing to shape it, change it, fix it. The peace of being with your life instead of constantly trying to manage it. So many of us are living like emotional bodyguards, constantly on alert, anticipating danger, rehearsing pain before it happens. We call that being prepared. But all it really does is rob us of now, of intimacy, of aliveness, of the sacred unpredictability of being human. You don't need more control. You need more trust. Not in the world, not in some guaranteed outcome, but in your own capacity to be with whatever comes. Because that's true power. Not the power to prevent life from hurting, but the power to stay open in the face of it, to feel deeply and not break, to love fully and not run, to live honestly and not shrink. And that begins with this moment, not some enlightened future self, not some distant milestone, just this inhale, this heartbeat, this gaze toward the inner world you've spent a lifetime avoiding. So sit with yourself, not as a problem to be solved, but as a mystery to be honored. Ask, what have I been running from? Whose voice am I still trying to please? What truth in me have I silenced because it wasn't convenient? Let the answers come without judgment. Let the emotions surface without filters. Let your raw, unscripted self breathe. Because the goal isn't to be polished. The goal is to be present. And in presence, you become something unimaginable, free. Free from the lie that you are what you achieve. Free from the prison of other people's expectations. Free from the story that says you have to hustle for your worth. You are not here to chase time. You are here to be timeless, to feel life move through you, to cry without apology, to laugh without permission, to fall apart and still be whole. That's the paradox. You don't arrive at peace by adding more. You arrive by subtracting what isn't true. The pretending, the proving, the performing. Let it go. Let the self you've constructed crack open. Let the identity you've curated dissolve. Let the real you emerge, not as an idea, but as a lived experience. That's where healing begins. Not in the mind, not in the theory, but in the body, in the breath, in the sacred act of staying. So stay. Stay with the discomfort. Stay with the joy. Stay with the truth that is rising in you now. Because this moment is not something to get through. It is something to return to. Again, and again, and again. Like a sacred bell calling you home. The miracle isn't waiting in the future. It's already here. You are already here. And that is enough. And now, in this stillness, a question arises, not from fear, but from reverence. If this moment were your last, would it be enough? Not in terms of accomplishment, not in comparison to others, but in the depth of your presence within it. Would you meet yourself gently? Would you grieve the time spent fleeing yourself? Would you weep for the moments you could have touched but traded away for false security? This is not about regret, it's about awakening. Because you don't need to fix the past to choose now. You don't need to rewrite your story to return to your soul. The door to presence is always open, even when you've run from it 1,000 times, even when you've shut it in anger, in fear, in shame. It doesn't lock, it waits, and it welcomes you home with the same quiet love it always has. You may think you need to be someone else to finally feel peace, but peace doesn't come when the mind gets quiet. Peace comes when you stop identifying with the noise. You are not your thoughts. You are not your wounds. You are not your past. You are the sky. Everything else, thoughts, emotions, memories, they're just weather. Let them pass, let them swirl, let them rain. You remain still, spacious, eternal. That's the miracle, isn't it? That beneath all your striving, you are already whole. The cracks in you aren't signs of failure. They are places where the light found a way in. And now that light is growing. Not the blinding light of certainty or ego, but the soft glow of truth. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand. It whispers. It beckons. It says, stay here. Stay with me. This moment is your temple. This moment is your life. Not the life you imagined, not the one that was promised, but the one that is real. And real is more than enough. So many are lost in the pursuit of something else. Some other version of success, of love, of self. But you are being called back to what was never lost. Your breath, your heart, your sacred yes to now. You don't need to start over. You need to stop turning away. You don't need a new plan. You need to feel the ground beneath you and trust it will hold. You don't need more time. You need to stop running from this moment. Because this moment has been waiting for you. Not the mask, not the story. You, the one who aches, the one who longs, the one who remembers somewhere deep inside what it means to truly live. And to live is to let life touch you, to feel the joy without fearing its end, to feel the grief without numbing its depth, to feel the mystery without demanding explanation, to open again and again, no matter how many times the world has tried to convince you to close. This is the quiet revolution, not one of noise, but of presence, not one of conquest, but of surrender, not to defeat, but to truth. The truth that your life is not a race, it is a rhythm, and your task is not to master it, but to dance with it. Let it carry you, let it break you open, let it show you the parts of yourself you forgot how to love. Because those parts, the hidden, messy, tender parts, they are not distractions from your path. They are the path, and you are already walking it. So walk slower, breathe deeper, speak softer. Let the sacredness of now seep into your bones. No need to rush, no need to prove, no need to chase another second when the one you're in holds eternity. And when the world gets loud again, and it will, return. Return to the breath, return to the body, return to the moment. Let it be your sanctuary, let it be your mirror, let it be enough. And when doubt arises, because it will, place your hand over your heart and remember, you are not behind, you are not broken, you are not late, you are here, and here is holy. You are not running out of time, you are running away from presence, but not anymore. Now, you stop. Now, you feel. Now, you remember. This is where life begins. This is where love meets you. This is where healing flows. Not tomorrow, not when it's perfect. Now, and if you forget again, because forgetting is human, forgive yourself gently. Then start over. Start again. Each breath is a doorway. Each moment a new beginning. Come home again and again and again, until it no longer feels like returning, because you finally remember. You never truly left. You don't need more time, you just need to stop running from this moment. I am not behind, I am not broken, I am here, and here is enough.